A mission to get a murder suspect off the streets becomes a shootout. What the body camera shows tonight.
How big of a problem do you think unlicensed taxis are right now here in Nashville?
Putting the brakes on counterfeit cabs. How the city is stepping in after Fox 17 News' relentless reporting. She stepped in to take care of her 4 great-grandchildren, only to have DCS take them away. How the community is rallying around this woman tonight. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Terrifying moments there. Body camera video capturing the exact moment a Metro officer is shot while trying to arrest a murder suspect. All of this playing out in a Madison apartment complex. The suspect also hit by gunfire. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joining us live in North Nashville with what we know tonight. Karen?
Megan, Officer Carlos Diaz, who Metro Police say was shot by murder suspect Mikkel Williams, was just released about an hour ago from Skyline Medical Center behind me. Officers tell me they are glad he survived, but it could have been much worse. Body camera footage released by Metro Police shows an officer identified as Carlos Diaz walking up to a yellow car. They say that is murder suspect Mikkel Williams getting out of the car, who then opens fire at Officer Diaz. Fernando Baruca was working nearby.
The gunshots happened quick. As soon as we heard the gunshots, we heard an officer driving up the road. Williams is accused of killing Samuel L. Edwards Jr. in an apartment complex on Buena Vista Pike in March, prompting this attempt to pick him up. They say when Diaz was shot, Officer Joseph Gonzalez jumped in to help him. Back up. You can see Officer Gonzalez firing at Williams through the open passenger side door. Then you can see Williams laying on the pavement.
Williams was armed with a semi-automatic pistol and exchanged gunfire with our police officers. Officer Carlos Diaz, a member of the Titans team, was hit, as was Williams. They say the shootout happened a little before 1 this afternoon at this apartment complex on Skyline Ridge Drive. Our Titans team has been attempting to locate Williams for the past many days. This afternoon, they received information that he was indeed here at this apartment complex. Both Officer Diaz and Williams are expected to be okay.
Fortunate that this is not much worse.
Metro Police tell me that Officers Diaz and Gonzalez have been placed on routine administrative assignment as they investigate the shooting. They also tell me that Williams' bond is set at $1 million for homicide. Police Chief Drake tells me that he hopes that bond is enough to keep Williams behind bars. Reporting live here in Madison, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
And you can see all of the body camera footage for yourself at fox17.com. It's right there on the homepage. All right, another hot day. In fact, we're in code red tonight for the severity of scorching hot temperatures heading into tomorrow.
Another one on the way for tomorrow. We hit 99 today. So close.
Yeah.
So
That's
close.
a record we don't want to beat.
I know, it's right. It's like you're looking at me like, do we really want to go there? It's true. We did hit it on Sunday, though. So we've had one 100-degree day on Sunday. We were at 99 today. And going into tomorrow, we're looking at that high to be right around 100 again. The difference for tomorrow, we have this heat advisory that's been issued, is the fact that the moisture content or the humidity is going up. And so that heat index will be anywhere between 105 to 110 for the afternoon. And that, again, is extreme. And you'll want to limit that outdoor activity if you can throughout the day. This is just a snapshot here, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're looking at over 100 as far as the real field temperature goes, and we will have the potential for a few showers and storms. That will briefly cool us down, which is why some of these numbers don't look as impressive. But as we see those showers clear, anywhere between 105 to 110 is possible. We'll show you a whole hourly look at that coming up in just a bit. Things are quiet here in Tennessee, but to our north here, your eye probably drawn towards this big severe storm complex pushing through Illinois this evening. That is where all the severe weather is for tonight. They They've got a line of severe storms getting ready to move into Chicago, including a few confirmed tornado warnings. Those are the purple boxes that you see there. We stay quiet for tonight. Temperatures will be quite warm. We're not going to get a lot of relief from the heat we had this afternoon as we bottom out right around 77 here in Nashville, and outside of city center is a little cooler, mid to in some cases lower 70s. That'll be out towards the plateau. We'll walk you through the heat forecast for tomorrow. I do see light at the end of the tunnel. There is some cooler weather on the way. We'll talk when that occurs coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
This was recently, of course, raised to a higher level of concern.
Fox 17 News continuing to stay on top of a safety concern downtown impacting tourists and locals alike. After weeks of our reporting, multiple agencies are trying to come up with a solution to counterfeit cabs. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller joining us live from Midtown after covering this story for us for several weeks. Caitlin.
Yes, Megan. Well, today we spoke with Metro Councilman Jacob Coupin, and he says that Metro Council members are working alongside TLC, NDOT, cab companies, and law enforcement to all tackle this issue together. He says the first step is to have TLC come up with a campaign to educate the public about all of these issues happening. And then he says that the TLC plans on hiring more staff to help with the enforcement downtown. You may see taxis all around downtown Nashville, but knowing which one is safe to get into is now something you must pay attention to.
How big of a problem do you think unlicensed taxis are right now here in Nashville?
I think it's a significant problem.
Fox 17 News has been covering the horror stories with passengers, raising these concerns to Metro leaders. Now Metro leaders are responding.
I think one of the most important messages is that we're going to work really hard to address this, but also to make sure the public knows clearly what is and isn't allowed and how to let us know what's going on.
Metro Councilman Jacob Coupin says the TLC is working on a PSA campaign to make sure the public knows their rights when getting into a cab. Fox 17 News had a licensed taxi driver show us this firsthand.
The most important thing, you need to know which number you are in.
Yellow cab driver Raid Altabasi says you need to pay attention to the cab company before you get into the car. Then once those boxes have been checked.
That's the permit right there. You want to make sure I got the permit.
Altabasi says the driver must start their meter right before he or she starts the ride. Coupin says he and the director of nightlife, along with TLC and Metro Police, are working hard to address this.
We're downtown, we're spot checking things, we're walking around the different neighborhoods. This is something we've added to our list, again, to keep on our radar.
Coupin says it's critical for people to file any incidents to Hub Nashville. Now, the TLC will be holding a public meeting about this issue on Thursday. The meeting will begin with public comment, in which Metro Councilman Jacob Coupin says he will be speaking. And then the topic of unlicensed drivers is also on the agenda. Reporting live from Midtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
In politics tonight, the GOP formally nominating former President Trump for president at the first day of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And shortly after that, Mr. Trump announced Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate. Tonight's convention begins a full week of political decisions as Republicans focus on policy and positions for the GOP as they try to reclaim the White House in November.
The Republican National Convention off and gets right down to business with a roll call of the states to officially nominate Donald Trump as the GOP nominee.
On behalf of our entire family and on behalf of the 125 delegates in the unbelievable state of Florida, we hereby nominate every single one of them for the greatest president that's ever lived, and that's Donald J. Trump. Hereby declaring him the Republican nominee for President of the United States of America.
His home state of Florida delivering the delegates that officially put Donald Trump over the top. And after much speculation, the former president finally announcing his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance.
It is therefore my honor to nominate Ohio Senator J.D. Vance for the office of Vice President of the United States of America. He will faithfully stand by President Donald Trump's side as they win this election and change the course of our nation.
Take a look at what happened.
After being just millimeters away from losing his life on Saturday, former President Trump says he is rewriting his keynote speech he'll deliver later this week. Originally, he was planning to attack President Biden and his policies, but now he will focus on unity. And in a nod to party unity, Trump's former primary rival Nikki Haley is set to speak here at the RNC tomorrow. In Milwaukee, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Continuing political coverage, the convention comes just 2 days after the FBI says Thomas Crooks tried to assassinate former President Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania. Agents are now going through the 20-year-old's phone and his AR-15. A sniper shot and killed Crooks after he opened fire. Sticking with politics, and President Biden and former President Donald Trump both have Secret Service protection because of their job and former job as president. But independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does not, because the law does not require it for third-party candidates. But today, the president changed that. And now, Kennedy does have protection. Security now provided for him after the assassination attempt. Until now, Kennedy has spent millions of his own money on private security detail. On Fox 17 News at 9:30, the security measures now set ahead of former President Trump's Nashville visit here in Music City later this month.
A great-grandmother with...
Fox 17 News investigates after a great-grandmother says DCS took her 4 great-grandchildren away after she stepped up to take care of them. Ruth Gardner has a home and 2 jobs. Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier taking a closer look at the case.
DCS has a lot of power. They're also limited legally in explaining themselves. So when you look at one of these custody fights, you're almost never getting the whole picture. Nevertheless, this does not look good.
This is where the girls sleep.
Ruth Gardner's beautiful home is decorated with the art and achievements of her 4 great-granddaughters. Ruth's granddaughter has struggled with drug addiction and has lost custody of her children. So Ruth stepped in without any government assistance. Her only motive, she will tell you, love.
That's all they know. I've always had them. They're my great-grandchildren, and that's all they know is me. And besides their mom, I've had them ever since the oldest one was 3 months old. She's 7 now.
So what in the world happened? Gardner says her granddaughter made allegations that Ruth Gardner was dating a rapist. Gardner said these allegations were completely unfounded, yet led to the children being taken from her on November 7th, 2023. Just 1 week later, the court returned those kids to Miss Gardner.
And they have good job.
In the meantime, Gardner says her boyfriend paid for his own background check. Nevertheless, the children were taken from Miss Gardner again on April 16th of this year. Again, Mrs. Gardner says all based on allegations without an ounce of proof.
I did everything the court asked me to do. I took them to counseling. I took them to school. I did everything, whatever they asked me to do. And it's always allegations after allegations after allegations. They never investigated anything. DCS just came and got the kids.
Now, it is important for you to know DCS cannot tell its side of the story. They are limited by law. Quote, pursuant to state and federal law, we are unable to release case-specific information regarding children or families served by the Department of Children's Services, unquote. What's different about this case is that a third independent party has got involved. Fran Bush owns 3 daycares for decades in the Antioch area, a respected businesswoman and former school board member. She had these 4 girls in her daycare, and she says Mrs. Gardner took care of their every need.
She took it upon herself to make sure doctor's appointments, I got excuses for them being out from school or being late for school because they had doctor's appointments. They came every day in clean, healthy, happy, no behavior problems.
So where are the girls now? First, they were shipped off to a foster home in Overton County. That didn't work out. They've moved again. Another foster home in a different county, and now the oldest child has been given to a relative. They're no longer even together. Ruth Gardner wakes up sick to her stomach every day.
They never got a chance to talk to me. I never got a chance to say, babies, I'm a work on it. I'm trying to get you back. It's not my fault. I love them from the bottom of my heart.
There's another hearing in Safe Baby Court this week. We will be on top of this story. I'm Dennis Ferrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, still in that Fox 17 Code Red weather alert for the extreme heat that we've been experiencing, and no reprieve just yet.
No, unfortunately not. I do see some light at the end of the tunnel, though.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, this is quite good.
Yeah, this map surely shows that, right?
Right. Not yet, though. Yeah, this is our heat advisory map as we take a look. A lot of the country, in fact, under heat advisories that'll continue through Tuesday. And we'll zoom in here. Everyone in orange, which is most of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, that's the heat advisory that is in play for tomorrow. The good news is I do think tomorrow will be the hottest day that we feel, both as far as temperature goes, air temperature and heat index. So heat index values over 105 look likely for us for Tuesday for a lot of the area, but there is relief on the way as we head towards the middle to late part of this week, not only in the form of cooler weather, but in the form of rain, something that I think we've all been wishing for over the past couple of weeks. We just haven't had too much of it. 91 at 10 o'clock. We're up to about 99 by 2. Mainly sunny skies expected throughout the afternoon hours. The exception will be a few spots where we have a stray storm pop up. Good news is severe weather's not on the table for tomorrow, but they will contain some heavy pockets of rain. Heat index, this is at 9 a.m. We could be feeling around 100 already at 9 o'clock in the morning here in Music City. And notice as we head towards 11, 12 noon, we're anywhere between 102 to 105 here in town, and that continues to just hover there throughout the day. Stagnant air, not a lot of air movement around, so anywhere between 105 to 110 is on the table for tomorrow. Then we get into Tuesday evening. You notice a big change here. This is due to some of those scattered showers that will be possible as we head through the evening hours, and then more so going into Wednesday, and that'll help cool us down as well. Chances of rain are going up. In fact, this is looking pretty good, promising, we'll say at least. Not everybody will see rain for tomorrow. I do think we have a better chance coming in on Wednesday, and that is due mainly to a front that'll be pushing through for Wednesday. So we take you through the morning hours, and you can see that we're looking at a few clouds, mainly dry conditions through the first half of the day with a stray shower chance possible. But again, most of us do stay dry for tomorrow. I wouldn't bank on rain. As we get into Tuesday evening, you can see a few showers possible for us, but generally quiet conditions as we head into early Wednesday morning. So I would bet maybe a few of those showers and storms Tuesday night in our northwestern counties and going forward throughout Middle Tennessee for the remainder of Tuesday evening, but a lot of the rain chances will subside after the sun sets because we lose that energy. Wednesday, a different story as we see a few showers toward north and west. We get into the afternoon, a couple pockets of rain here or there. Front comes in for Wednesday night, and that will trigger a few more showers and thunderstorms here. Should remain pretty scattered across the area. Again, not everybody will see rain even on Wednesday, but the chance of you seeing rain does go up a little bit at least. Heavy pockets of rain, gusts of wind 30, 40 miles per hour possible. We'll see those showers here push through even into early Thursday morning. And behind the front, much cooler air expected. We'll drop from 100 on Tuesday to the mid 80s as we head towards Thursday afternoon. So there is again some light at the end of the tunnel. 77 our temperature for the overnight with mainly clear skies, a warm night ahead and a high right around 100 degrees. It's not often that I put 100 on the map and on the forecast, but it kind of looks weird, doesn't it? But it is possible for tomorrow. A few pop-up storms. Otherwise, watch for those heat index values 105 to 110. We'll walk you through our rain chances that are possible and how it's looking as we head into the later half of the month.
New tonight, questions from mid-state drivers after a shocking sight. A group of demonstrators stood on a Madison overpass directly over I-65 waving what appeared to be Nazi flags. A similar situation happening downtown over the weekend where men dressed like this passed out anti-Semitic and anti-LGBTQ literature. Well, that downtown protest led to a fight between two men, and here are their mugshots. Metro Police say Ryan McCann from Canada hit a bar employee with a Nazi flag. He now faces assault charges. The bar worker, Diego Buck, now faces a disorderly conduct charge. And here's a live look right now, 9:27 our time, from the Republican National Convention happening in Milwaukee. Former President Trump just made his first appearance there since the attempted assassination on Saturday at a campaign rally. He is not scheduled to speak tonight, but he has said he will be revamping his speech to focus less on Biden and more on unity. We'll have more on that appearance tonight on Fox 17 News at 10. Former President Trump heading to Nashville. Well, we're getting new information tonight on the attempted assassination of former President Trump. Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins taking a look at communication problems with the Secret Service.
I really see something to say.
2 days after a would-be assassin nearly killed former President Donald Trump and did kill one of his supporters, the country is struggling to understand how a 20-year-old got access to the rooftop a little more than a football field away from where Trump stood on stage, with enough time to fire off deadly shots.
This was a colossal failure on multiple fronts. This should never happen.
There appears to have been a communication breakdown between federal and local agencies. NBC News reporting Secret Service did identify that rooftop as a vulnerability days before the event. A Secret Service spokesman says the roof was local law enforcement's jurisdiction.
There'll have to be, great scrutiny because, another inch and our president would have been dead.
However, Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldinger said the Secret Service was in charge of security outside the venue. CNN sources also saying the Secret Service did not sweep the rooftop prior to the rally.
Where the hell was the aerial visual support? Why was there no helicopter? How the hell is the crowd acting as the freaking counter surveillance operation? I know, is that...
The head of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, slammed by critics for the security breakdown and for taking until Monday to publicly respond.
We should be hearing from the director of Secret Service. The fact she has not been out there is unconscionable.
Cheadle opting for a statement, which she released Monday, saying they are working with federal, state, and local agencies to understand what happened, and they'll participate in the independent review and work with congressional oversight.
I have 100% confidence in the director of the United States Secret Service. I have 100% confidence in the United States Secret Service.
Director Cheadle is briefing members of Congress this week. Next week, she's invited to testify for a public hearing. On Capitol Hill, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
There was a failure. There was a massive failure that somebody was able to get on a roof within the perimeter and actually take a clean shot.
Continuing coverage as there are questions surrounding the safety in Nashville, as former President Trump is set to speak here in Music City next week at the Bitcoin conference at the Music City Center. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker breaking down the security plan now moving forward.
The three-day event next Thursday to Saturday will host lots of speakers from the former president and other big-name politicians to Edward Snowden and Russell Brand. And with 20,000 plus people expected to attend this big conference, of course, safety is a top concern.
Take a look at what happened.
A terrifying moment as gunfire erupts during a campaign rally this past weekend in Butler, Pennsylvania. The assassination attempt on the former president, leaving 2 people injured and 2 dead, including the gunman. And shortly after, Americans took to social media, asking how could this happen? As police say a sniper took several shots at Mr. Trump from an area rooftop less than 150 meters away.
There's so many details, and it looks like somebody missed a detail. And because of that one detail that was missed, the president could have been killed.
Retired FBI agent Scott Augenbaum weighing in. calling the security threat a massive failure.
There is going to be massive investigations. There's going to be a lot of hearings, and there's going to be a lot of shakeups. This cannot happen again, and people want to get to the bottom. There's a lot of unanswered questions at this time.
And as the former president heads to Nashville next week, Hohenwald says there will be a lot more pressure in regard to security.
A lot of pressure, a lot of stress. There's going to be a lot more details and a lot more planning. Secret Service agents are stretched thin. There's not enough of them right now. So this is going to cause a lot of stress on the Secret Service.
The FBI tells Fox 17 News while they're not aware of any local threats, the FBI Memphis field office and Nashville resident agency is working closely with law enforcement partners at the state, local, and federal level should any threats emerge. Hohenwald wants to tell others to not stop living your life when incidents like this happen, but rather just stay vigilant when we see these type of big events and always know your exit points. As for the FBI, they say if you see something suspicious, say something. We have their local tip line on our website, fox17.com. For now, reporting in Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Continuing coverage tonight as Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is still processing his near-death assassination attempt. He says he's maintaining his schedule as planned and today announced his vice presidential running mate. Joining us tonight to help understand the whirlwind of these past few days and the impact it's had on former President Trump is veteran political analyst Linda Schatt. Linda, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first, how will Trump's pick of Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate impact the momentum moving forward in this election cycle?
Well, I think it's going to energize it. And it also says that former President Trump has chosen his successor in terms of the MAGA movement. And the MAGA movement is the future of the Republican Party. And the choice is ideological. He aligns with President Trump on being against aid to Ukraine. He is an election denier. He questions the 2020 election. It's a generational choice, a brilliant generational choice, because Americans have been saying they want a younger candidate. It's a cultural choice because he comes from Appalachia, but he has gone to Yale and worked in Silicon Valley, and he will very much help geographically. It's a geographical choice because he will help in the Rust Belt as well as, I think, across America. And what I love is that he wrote in his book, the first page of his book, that he's not writing the book because he has done anything extraordinary. Well, J.D. Vance did something extraordinary today.
Well, his VP pick coming as the Republican National Convention kicked off today, and Trump has publicly said that he is now rewriting his speech to focus less on Biden and more on unity. Good move?
A very good move. Both parties have said they're going to cool the rhetoric. I'm waiting to see that. And today, as I was watching the first 3 hours of the convention, what I saw was a focus on faith and flag and fight. And so there was a lot of reference to Providence taking care of Donald Trump on Saturday. There was prayer and amens. There was the flag. There was the pledge. There was the Star Spangled Banner. There was God Bless America, the song sung. And then at the end of that block, there was several minutes of fight, 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 which actually echoes what President Trump was saying as he was taken off the stage after he was wounded.
All right, Linda Schatt, great insight. Certainly a lot has changed in these last few days, and it will be interesting to see how it evolves moving forward. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Well, the heat is on, and it will be dangerous how these temperatures impact children.
And coming up, more on the heat that is expected.
The issue of illegal immigration is a big top issue for voters in this year's presidential race. Fox 17 News' Christine Frizzell takes a look at where things stand in tonight's Spotlight on America report.
It is a cost not measured in dollars, but in changes to the fabric of the city, whose newest residents can now be seen creating makeshift playgrounds alongside busy roads. It's a puzzle for city leaders who have defended New York City's right to shelter decree, but see it's a promise that's come with a price tag.
We're getting no support on this national crises.
Asylum seeker costs topped $1.5 billion in fiscal year 2023. More than $4 billion are budgeted for fiscal year 2024, and nearly $5 billion are budgeted for fiscal year 2025. Across the river, some fights against allowing migrants in have been successful, but the budget strains are also being felt.
So a lot of these things that ordinary folks expect as services, whether it be sanitation, education, things that we want to do for the kids and families of Staten Island who've made this place great. They're being told we can't do it because there's no money, and the money's being spent on migrants.
Washington, D.C. has spent about $59 million. Denver is expected to spend as much as $340 million to feed, clothe, shelter, and provide education and health care services for migrants. Earlier this year, announcing specific cuts to city services.
We are announcing today we will make some changes both to our services at DMV and to our services on Parks and Rec.
In March, officials in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, overturned a city law and designated itself a non-sanctuary county.
This massive inflow of people into our country will take resources, will bankrupt our hospital systems.
This past winter in Chicago, bringing scenes like this, the city already shelling out more than $400 million on the crisis as residents wrestle with the trade-off.
I know it's right to want to help other people, because as Black people, that's what we do. But when the hell are y'all going to help us?
With local leaders reminding Washington the cities look to them to cover the costs.
Immigration is a federal responsibility.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Christine Frizzau.
Continuing coverage of our Fox 17 Code Red weather alert, another sweltering heat wave bringing dangerously hot temperatures across the mid-state. We officially hit 100 on Sunday, and temps are expected to be in triple digits again tomorrow. Joining us now is Dr. Matthew Yeager, pediatric emergency physician at TriStar Centennial. Dr. Yeager, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm happy to be here.
Well, this heat, it can be uncomfortable for really everyone, but it can be especially dangerous for children. Are you all seeing any cases come through the ER?
Absolutely. Every time this year, when the kids are out in the summer heat, especially our young athletes, we see a lot of emergency department visits for heat-related illness, kids being unprepared for the heat, and not having acclimated to these high temperatures. Definitely see an uptick in those type of events here this time of year.
Well, if you're a parent and you have a young child who maybe can't communicate what they're feeling, how can you tell if they're in distress?
Absolutely. That's a good question. Our young children are at higher risk than your average person when it comes to suffering from an injury from heat-related illness. So in general, their overall activity level, if you've got a young child, if you notice, their color, most of the time in the early stages of a heat-related illness, you'll be more flushed. Skin will be bright red. You might see some excessive sweating. And then overall, the child just might become fussy or lethargic. Those are all definitely signs that it's time to get out of the sun, get out of the heat, and work hard to get the child cooled down.
When do you know if you need to call 911 or call for medical help?
That's a good question. So I would say, so step one, when we're dealing with what we call heat exhaustion, that's kind of the early stages of heat-related illness, really getting out of the heat, getting into a cool area, take off the first layer of clothing, use something like a wet rag or some ice maybe to cool the child down. We typically like to focus on areas of the body with a lot of circulation, so like the head and neck or the groin or in the armpits, good places to put cool packs, and get a fan moving to kind of get the air moving around the child. That'll help rapidly cool them down. Most severely, if the child has a seizure-like activity, these are all signs that you really need to get them not only cooled down, but then get them to the emergency department for a full evaluation.
Great, important information there, Dr. Yeager. Thank you so much for all your hard work keeping families safe here in Middle Tennessee.
Thanks so much. How y'all stay safe this summer.
Well, we are chasing a record as we head into tomorrow. Temperature expected to be around 100 degrees. The record is 104. I think we should be safe with that record. But again, that's a record we really don't want to have to break going into tomorrow. I thought this was interesting to pass along as well. Did you know that temperature is actually measured and calculated in the shade? So when you're in direct sunlight, it can add 10 to 15 degrees. So when you open up your weather app and you see the temperature of 95, that is the temperature in the shade. Temperature in the sun can be anywhere between 10 to 15 degrees warmer than that. So in direct sunlight, it's 110 degrees. Just something to keep in mind that when we report and measure temperature, it's always in the shade. For tomorrow morning, we are looking at temperatures to be in those mid to upper 70s to low 80s, right around 81, in fact, by 8 o'clock in the morning with mainly sunny skies. As we take a look here at our rainfall or lack thereof, a lot of July has been fairly dry and we're starting to see those impacts here. The drought continues to be worse in our southern counties, but really does include a lot of Middle Tennessee, the exception being up in southern Kentucky near Hopkinsville. We have a little bit of a surplus. The good news is I do see a shift in our pattern as we head into the week. Mentioned that we've got a pretty decent chance for rain, at least some pop-up showers on the way for the later half of the work week and into the weekend. And looking ahead toward the end of July, it looks like this pattern may continue with slightly above average conditions as far as our rainfall goes. So this is our precipitation outlook, and the time frame that we're looking at is the 23rd through the 29th. So it takes us right up to about the end of the month with a little bit of above average possibilities here as far as rain goes, and gets better. For the mid to late part of July, the potential for below average temperatures. Again, the same time frame, July 23rd to the 29th. Doesn't mean that every day is going to be rainy and cool. Just means that the overall pattern right now favors the potential for slightly below average temperatures, which would be below 90, and slightly above average chances for rain. So hopefully we'll get some rain in here, which again does look likely as we head towards the middle and late part of the week here. At 100, the forecast for tomorrow. We're at 96 for Wednesday. We drop to 86 by Thursday. So big swing in temperatures headed our way, and looking at those 80s to be around through Friday, 90 as we head.
A consumer alert for you tonight as tens of thousands of U.S. vehicles may be at risk of faulty airbags due to a new scheme. Nearly 2 million vehicles currently on the road had airbags deployed over the last 2 years. Airbags that crooks may be replacing with fakes. That's according to a report from the auto company Carfax. The National Highway Transportation Safety Administration says faulty replacement airbags killed 3 people over the past year. States the most at risk of this scam include Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Michigan, and Georgia. Still to come tonight, pulling back on back to school.
Emily Leisure.
In the economy, cash-strapped parents likely to pull back on that back-to-school annual shopping this year. According to a new study from Deloitte, shoppers are looking to spend about $586 per student. That's about $11 less than the average back-to-school receipt from last year. One reason why, Deloitte says school supply costs are up 24.5% over the past 4 years.
Can the political temperature really get turned down when there's just 24/7 hate on social media? I'm Matt Gelka in Washington, and I'll have the story coming up.
The aftermath of the attempt on former president's life, leaving a lot of us with very conflicted emotions. I'm Liz Bonus. We talk to educators about what we can all do to sort of pull together. It is just ahead.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
In a code red alert as we track another hot day for tomorrow. There's been a heat advisory that's issued for much of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky for tomorrow. It'll be in effect through Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock. And that is mainly because of heat index values that will be up there. We're talking about numbers that could be in the low 100s, 105 to 110. This is just a snapshot at 2 o'clock. And I think we actually get a little hotter as we go later in the day. After a few spot showers, it'll be possible for us. So heat and heat index values looking to be a big concern for tomorrow, with temperatures even topping off, air temperature topping off at 100 degrees. Things are quiet on radar this evening here in Tennessee. Not the case for folks up in Chicago area right now. We have a major severe weather outbreak ongoing right now with destructive winds. This orange box that you see here, that means that winds are in excess of 70 miles per hour, possibly 80. And then even these purple boxes are confirmed tornadoes moving through the Chicago area right now. So again, all this severe weather pushing through Illinois and into Indiana. It stays north of us. We will be quiet through the overnight hours. We'll discuss when I do see some relief on the way coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
And I ended up realizing that there was a shootout, and then the ambulance came in.
An officer-involved shooting leaves a Metro police officer and a murder suspect hurt. This is new graphic body camera footage released by Metro Police showing the shootout in Madison as police try to arrest that suspect. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is in North Nashville to tell us what happened.
Metro Police tell me that they had been looking for murder suspect Mikkel Williams right here in this apartment complex behind me on Skyline Ridge Drive. And once they found him, they tell me that Williams shot at Officer Carlos Diaz. You can see behind me that officers are still here on scene. Williams is accused of killing another man in March. This body camera footage shows Officer Diaz going up to a yellow car, gun in hand today. Police say that's murder suspect Williams on the passenger side, who then shoots at Diaz. You can also see another officer named Joseph Gonzalez who shoots at Williams. Metro Police tell me Diaz was shot in the leg and Williams was shot in the hip. Fernando Baruca was working nearby when all of this happened.
The gunshots happened quick. As soon as we heard the gunshots, we heard an officer driving up the road, and I guess that's the officer that ended up going in first after the incident. And as soon as he went in, we just heard the cops flood in.
Officers tell me both Diaz and Williams were taken to Skyline Medical Center and were expected to be okay. Diaz was just released from the hospital, Metro Police says. They tell me Diaz and Gonzalez have been placed on routine administrative assignment as they investigate the shooting. Williams' bond is set at $1 million for homicide. Reporting in Madison, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Somebody missed a detail.
Jeez.
And because of that one detail that was
Lord,
missed,
scroll
the
up, please.
could have been killed.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a spotlight on Nashville as former President Trump is scheduled to speak at the Bitcoin conference next week. There's a renowned focus on safety following the assassination attempt on Mr. Trump Saturday.
Take a look at what happened.
Well, this terrifying attack in Butler, Pennsylvania, raising questions about safety. The Secret Service says a gunman took several shots at the former president from an area rooftop. The gunfire killed an innocent bystander. Retired FBI agent Scott Augenbaum telling Fox 17 News security there was a massive failure. Because of this, Augenbaum says there will be an added pressure to enhance security here in Music City. Next week, 20,000 people are expected to attend a conference. That conference is at the Music City Center.
Security will be increased. I know that President Trump has been here before. President Biden has been here before. There's been debates here. The Secret Service works very, very closely with the Metro Nashville Police Department, but everyone is going to be on edge for this.
The FBI telling Fox 17 News that agents are working closely with local law enforcement.
Also, again, advocating for the TLC to take steps to make sure that these illegal operators are addressed.
Fox 17 News continuing to press Metro leaders after helping make them aware of the horror stories that tourists and residents shared with us firsthand. After weeks of reporting on this, multiple agencies are now stepping up to address the problem. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller joining us live from downtown after covering this story for several weeks. Caitlin, what's the latest?
Yes, Megan. Well, the TLC told us that they're focusing on hiring more staff to help with enforcement downtown. They say that they're also trying to make the public and visitors as aware as possible of these unlicensed drivers to make sure both visitors and people living in Music City are safe. Now, as you mentioned, Fox 17 News has been covering the horror stories with passengers, raising these concerns to Metro leaders. Well, now Metro leaders are responding. Metro Councilman Jacob Coupin says the TLC is working on a PSA campaign to make sure the public knows their rights when getting into a cab, to make sure drivers turn on the meter before the ride begins, and to check to make sure the driver has the proper license. And the TLC says they're hiring 9 more employees to help with downtown regulations. What's, I guess, the biggest issue you're facing right now in order to regulate this and try to give citations to these unlicensed drivers?
Well, our challenge is just getting them a parking ticket, and that's all we can cite them for because they're not companies that we regulate.
The TLC is holding a public meeting Thursday afternoon. The meeting will begin with public comment, and the topic of unlicensed drivers is also on the agenda. Now, Metro Councilman Jacob Coupin says it's really important for anyone who's experienced a bad incident with a taxi or rideshare driver to report this to Hub Nashville immediately. He says that this will help greatly with regulation. Reporting live from Midtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, July now halfway over, which means it's time to start thinking about back to school. A survey from Deloitte shows parents will likely spend the same or less on back to school purchases over years past. Now, that survey shows that last year, shoppers paid an average of $597 per student. That's for kindergarten through 12th grade. Now, this year, shoppers are only expected to spend about $586 per student. That survey also shows that parents are looking to cut back on electronics spending to save more money.
A Trump-Vance ticket is taking shape at the Republican National Convention. I'm Atrell Nashar with the latest from Milwaukee.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcast.
All right, we're taking a live look now over Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Republican National Convention happening right now. This is day one where former President Trump was in the audience tonight, his first appearance since surviving that assassination attempt on Saturday. He walked into the arena and had a bandage over his right ear. Well, day one, an exciting one for Mr. Trump as he picked his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Fox 17 News' Atra El-Nashar with the highlights tonight.
The political world reacting to news of a Trump-Vance ticket coming out of the Republican National Convention here in Milwaukee. And for Republicans from across the country who have gathered here, the past 72 hours have been an emotional roller coaster, going from almost losing their presidential nominee to learning who he's picked for his running mate. Less than 2 years as Ohio's junior senator, J.D. Vance has been thrust into the national spotlight. A decal of his name already going up under Trump's on the former president's private plane. Vance expected to address the RNC on Wednesday. But already, President Biden reacting to Trump's pick.
He's going to surround himself with people who agree completely with him. Have a voting record. I support him. Even though if you go back and listen to the things that J.D. Vance said about Trump.
The theme of night one of the Republican convention, Make America Wealthy Again, with speeches focused on the economy. But Saturday's shooting is also still top of mind. Some of the speakers were once considered potential VP picks.
If you didn't believe in miracles before Saturday, you better be believing right now. The devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back up on his feet.
We ask for God's grace to be on innocent victims. We thank him for this moment of unity, and we thank him for protecting our next president, Donald J. Trump.
Trump is staying busy behind the scenes. He reportedly didn't tell Vance until 20 minutes before the announcement that he's who he chose to be his running mate. Trump also reportedly speaking with independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. about a possible endorsement. But a spokesperson for Kennedy says the independent candidate is not dropping out of the race. In Milwaukee, I'm Atrell Nashar.
What do you think? Earlier in our newscast, we asked this question. Do you like President Trump's pick for vice president? The pick, of course, in J.D. Vance. And here are the numbers up on your screen. 501 people weighing in. 68.1% say yes, they approve of the pick. 31.9% say no. Each night, look for a brand new poll on our X page that you can participate in.
Can the political temperature really get turned down when there's just 20?
Making headlines tonight, political leaders are asking Americans to calm down following the assassination attempt on former President Trump. Fox 17 News' Matt Galka digging into if that's even possible with today's deep political divide.
It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that.
The rhetoric is way too hot.
I agree fully that we need to tamp down political rhetoric.
Everyone needs to turn the rhetoric down.
Voices across the political world asked for calm in the immediate aftermath of Donald Trump's assassination attempt. But there was blame, too.
I do believe that Joe Biden is responsible for the shooting. Everyone who has called him a fascist, everyone who has called him a threat to democracy, who said that he should be put in a bullseye, as Joe Biden said, they need to have some very deep reflection.
Other prominent Republicans like Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Congressman Steve Scalise blame the shooting on rhetoric from Democrats. California Democrat Eric Swalwell wondered why a registered Republican would fire at the party's candidate. A staffer for Mississippi Democrat Betty Thompson posted the gunman needed shooting lessons. The staffer was later fired. Authorities have yet to identify a motive for the shooter, but it rarely matters on social media, where there's a constant drumbeat of 24/7 rage to try and attract eyeballs to someone's point of view and vilify the other side.
The presence of social media and also a divided news media landscape more generally has contributed to the heat that we hear in so much of the rhetoric now.
George Washington University political scientist Stephen Livingston says it would take a complete reversal of course to really cool things off.
There are too many institutions with the incentives to actually keep the rhetoric up, if not turn it up even more. And by institutions, I mean everything from various news organizations to political parties.
The former president told two reporters that he had a tough speech prepared for the RNC this week, but he's since ripped it up to write a new one focusing on unity. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Galka.
We remain in our code red alert as we track heat again for tomorrow. It does look like it will be the hottest day that we'll feel as far as heat index values go, 105 to 110. Hot weather continues. A lot of the country, in fact, looking at heat advisories there in orange. And I would say the majority of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky under the heat advisory for tomorrow. So again, heat index values 105 to 110. We do have some relief on the way. Thankfully, as we head towards the middle to late part of the week, we will start to see those temperatures drop back. 91 our temperature for tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We're up to about 99 by 2 o'clock with mainly sunny skies, and we'll hang on to those upper 90s for much of the day, if not touching 100. It'll feel like 100 as early as 9, 10 o'clock in the morning here in town, and that number climbs as we head towards 11, 12 noon. As we get into the later part of the afternoon hours, we could see 108, 109 even. A few areas may get a brief bit of relief from a couple showers and storms that'll be with us. The good news is severe weather is not a problem for tomorrow. But we'll see some of those showers around as we go through Tuesday evening. Now, just outside the viewing area, there will be a few strong thunderstorms. It's not out of the realm of possibility. One may stray into southern Kentucky. But again, anything that we do see would be gusty winds and some heavy pockets of rain. Rain chances overall looking much better this week here. We'll have at least isolated to scattered showers around. We take you through future track. This goes through Tuesday morning. Notice that we've got a partly
cloudy sky for 11, 12 noon. A few showers possible for us as we go through the day, even into the late afternoon hours. A couple showers there. Again, north and west, we may have a few strong thunderstorms, but as they move into Middle Tennessee, I don't expect really too much in the way of severe weather to be an issue for us. 6 a.m. Wednesday, looking at a few more showers here. And as we go through Wednesday, cold front will be pushing through. This is 11 a.m., a few showers around. Then we go into the later part of the day, a few more pockets of rain will be possible for us along that frontal boundary. Now the front will push through, and we do cool down as we head into the later half of the week, but we'll keep some of these shower chances around too. This takes us up to Thursday morning. We'll continue to at least see a few pockets of rain here or there Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend too. So again, for a couple of weeks that we've had very little rain, it's good to see some of these rain chances going up. Mainly clear for tonight. It's going to be pretty warm with little to no wind as we head into tomorrow. High around 100 with heat index values around 105. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We're at 96 for Wednesday, and look at that temperature drop. Thursday, a high of 86 degrees. Showers and storms possible for us with highs in the upper 80s to around 90 for Saturday and Sunday this weekend.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
This porch was no match for the wind gusts blowing out of a severe thunderstorm last night south of Birmingham. Here's a bolt of lightning in Panama City, Florida that starts high in the sky, passes between lower clouds, then strikes land on the other side of the water. And this field of sunflowers in South Carolina was giving off good vibes during sunset.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
And you can see more stories like this every weekday morning on the National Weather Desk. It starts at 8 a.m. on our sister station, MyTV 30.
An uptick in political violence.
Continuing coverage as the assassination attempt on former President Trump sparks calls for heightened security for other political candidates. Fox 17 News' Angela Brown has the latest.
RFK Jr., the independent candidate running for president, does not have Secret Service protection, saying this on Fox before the Trump assassination attempt.
I've had 3 home break-ins since I announced my candidacy.
His story becoming more common. U.S. Representative Nancy Mace describing threats against her over the weekend to our reporters at WCIV in Charleston.
I get many, many death threats. The last one, someone threatened to shoot me in the face just a couple of days ago. My children have been threatened over time. These kinds of things have to stop.
Now elected leaders are asking for action. The Democratic governor of Colorado saying on X, I encourage POTUS to immediately provide Secret Service protection for Robert Kennedy Jr. And then there's U.S. Representative Ruben Gallego, who sent this letter asking, will the Secret Service reconsider its denial of protection for presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? RFK Jr. was asked about protection on Newsmax after the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. He said he didn't want to make it about him.
All of us who fed into the vitriol, to the hatred, to the anger, that this is the ultimate culmination of that, and we need to all step back and start seeing each other once again as Americans.
Experts are now warning about an increase in political attacks. In 2022, Paul Pelosi, husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was attacked with a hammer in his own home in San Francisco. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise was shot in 2017 during a congressional baseball game. Some experts now fear this could become more common.
I think we are back in an era in which political assassinations are becoming a tactic again of in which people seek a solution to what they think are their political problems.
Robert Pape is a University of Chicago professor and the director of the Chicago Project on Security and Threats. His latest study found that nearly 5 to 10% of an American adults support political violence to restore Donald Trump to the White House, while 10% of American adults support the use of force to stop Donald Trump from becoming president. So this is coming from both sides. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
The aftermath of the attempt on former president's life, leaving a lot of us with very conflicted emotions. I'm Liz Bonus. We talk to educators about what we can all do to sort of pull together. It is just ahead.
More dangerously high temperatures are expected across Middle Tennessee, putting people at risk for heat-related illnesses. We're going to tell you which medical conditions doctors say you need to be on the lookout for that could put you at a high risk. That's coming up Tuesday on Fox 17 News this morning.
In your health news, if you're struggling emotionally following the assassination attempt on former President Trump, you're not the only one. Fox 17 News medical reporter Liz Bona sharing what we can all do to make a difference.
Hey there, everybody. The events this weekend fall into a category that those who teach political science call extremely heightened election emotions.
I'm doing all right. It's not over. The shock's not over. The emotions aren't over.
Even if you did not attend the rally where the assassination attempt on former President Trump's life took place,
Take a look at what happened.
it doesn't mean you aren't feeling some of the same emotions today.
We're in shock. We're mad too, and we're sad.
Dr. Mark Caleb Smith, the director of political studies at Cedarville University, told me he says many of us feel as we did when former President Reagan was shot or when the Twin Towers were hit on 9/11.
I think for many Americans, they're fearful about the future of their country.
Dr. Smith says we tend to think that we are a unified group, but when this happens,
We really don't have that shared sense of Americanism. And because that's missing, this all feels, I think, dangerous and maybe unprecedented, certainly for us in our lifetimes.
so given that then, do we take these emotions and do something with them, or do we just wait until they pass?
We'll see how we respond to it. I could see it going in a very good direction where we decide this is a close call. This could have been a humongous tragedy for the country to unfold on live television, and it nearly was. And certainly it was a tragedy for some of the people at that event, but it could have been so much worse.
He says political leaders respond to us, so I had to ask. Does that mean there's something we should be doing different today?
I think the best thing we could do right now is think of someone in your life and how they're responding to this and reach out to them. And let them know that you care about them, let them know that you love them, and let them know that you're supporting them, and that whatever your disagreements have been in the past over politics or other things, that you're putting those aside and you're prioritizing them as a human being first.
He does suggest we do this in person or by a phone conversation because social media, he says, has replaced many of those important conversations. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
All right, Katie, get us ready for tomorrow. It's going to be a hot one.
Another day right around 100. We hit 100 on Sunday. 99 today, just shy of 100, and then possibly looking at 100 for tomorrow. And then we cool down from there. So we'll be around 96 on Wednesday, 86.
Cool down to 96.
I know, right?